Welcome back to World of Warships Legends. Here on the Xbox Series S, we are doing Project 1.2. Now, if you watch Project 1.1, which should have been aired on Monday, you saw us using Anton Gurent in the Leningrad with essentially a triple concealment build, although obviously there is no Russian commander that has fragile threat. But we did a concealment build with Leningrad. We have what I would consider a very successful match. Here in this game, we are on Crash Zone. It is a domination match. We are top tier, fives and sixes, and we are using Vladimir Trubetskoy in a Firestarter build. So if you are wondering what a Firestarter build consists of, give me a minute because I have to look up Vladimir Trubetskoy to tell you what skills we picked. I can tell you it is generally the normal build I use on Vladimir Trubetskoy. Um, he is a gunboat commander. So when we look at his inspirations, we've got Philip Vine, increase the enemy shell dispersion, and we've got Billy Sims, which gives more hit points for every tier of the ship. In row one, we've got Observant Rage. In row two, Look at Me Now. In row three, Playing with Fire. This is the fire starting skill. I believe it is unique to Trubetskoy. If it's not, I haven't seen it in a lot of other skill trees. In row four, we are using Smoke in the Water, and the legendary skill is Unstoppable. So, what Playing with Fire does when you max it out, it gives you 5% to the range of the destroyer's guns. It does 30% less damage. So, the base damage for the Leningrad is 1900 for the HE shells. With Playing with Fire, that drops to 1330. But the big difference is the fire chance goes from 8%, but with Playing with Fire, it goes up to 16%. So essentially doubling your fire chance in exchange for a loss of around 570 hit points damage. All right, so we're in the Charlie Cap. There is a Nagato, a Florida, and a cruiser called Dallas. And I am going to exhort my teammates to kill the Dallas because the Dallas is a clear and present danger, not only to me capping, but my life. As you can see, the Leningrad doesn't have great concealment with this build, 6 kilometers even. We are using Look at Me Now, so that's 6%. We do have the concealment upgrade on the ship, and we do have the fully maxed out premium camo that came with the ship. So that is where we're getting the concealment from. After complaining about the Dallas, I decide it's a great idea to shoot at the Florida. And I want to say one shell hit the Florida, and we do 439 points of damage. Then I turn away and get out of there because I'm terrified the Dallas is going to light me up. And that would ruin our plan to show you how good a fire starter build can be in the Leningrad. All right. Quick note while we're just circling around and waiting for someone else to kill the Dallas. The name of the video is Project 1.1 or 1.2 or whatever build we're using. The project name is the name the Soviet Union gave to the Leningrad when it was being designed because it was the first destroyer designed and built in the Soviet Union. At least that's what Wikipedia says. I did order a book about Soviet destroyers. Unfortunately, I am not going to get it before I finish narrating this video. In theory, this is like the fourth narration because my narrating software decided to stretch out the narration. So the video ends, and I'm still talking about stuff that happened in the middle of the match. Very frustrating. All right, so we're back in the Charlie Cap. We are encouraging our enemies to shoot another cruiser. We've got the Nagato over here going behind some rocks out of my torpedo range. In my gun range, barely. No, it's in my gun range. Gun range 11.3 with this build. But the Florida, I'm thinking about shooting at the Nagato, and then I remember the difference by and large between the Minsk and the Leningrad is the Minsk has long range torpedoes. So I am going to shoot them double salvo at the Florida. And then I'm going to shoot at the Florida. And we're going to set the Florida on fire twice. Now, as you know, most battleship players who are good will not damage con 1 fire, but they will damage con 2 fires. And I am telling you, the Florida commander did what I would have done. If you're set on fire twice, you damage con. But because he did that, he just doesn't know it yet, but he is already dead. Now, that is an impressive torpedo salvo. He is going to dodge all but one torpedo. And that's the impact of this build. Even though he damage con the double fire that we set, and I think we're going to set another one right here. He is burning and flooding right now at the same time. I don't think we're going to shoot at him again. I don't know how much damage anyone else does to him. Maybe someday in the near future, when advanced stats come out, at the end you can see how much damage you did to each ship. But the Florida is dying. Someone has to be shooting him because that was kind of chunky damage right there. We are going to wait until we get between these two islands and get a torpedo reload. We are going to torp out at the Florida, but it is meaningless because he is dying. And as you can see, the damage counter is still going up. So I'm imagining the fire went out on its own, but the flooding did not stop. And we are going to kill the Florida right about now. There is the liquidator medal and our first kill of the match. Now the Nagato wanted to come play, and I did not realize the Nagato was covered with firewood, but apparently it is, in addition to not having any armor. Because I'm going to set the Nagato on fire not once, but twice in about 5 salvos, I want to say. So I'm pretty happy with that. The Nagato is not happy with that. He turns and runs away. He does graze us with a couple of shells there. We shoot at him one more time, then this cursed Fiji decides to start shooting at me, and I can't shoot at him because he is out of my range. All right, so as you know or should know, top tier Russian destroyers, tier 5, 6, 7, and legendary tier are meant to fight at range between 7 kilometers and their max range, I think ideally. You can get closer at your own risk depending on the ship. I would say the Tashkent, or not the Tashkent, the Khabarovsk has quick turning turrets, so you can take that sucker anywhere. But all these other ships, I think, are best played at the longer end of the range, 7 to 11 or 12 or whatever your max is kilometers. But I do not advise engaging cruisers at long range. We do set the Fiji on fire. The only reason I'm shooting at him, and he damage counts it, is because we are about to hide behind an island. I think you should studiously avoid cruisers in these destroyers. Even though they don't have a citadel, you get splashed a couple times by a cruiser, you're going to be hating life. And I think most people know that. All right, so I think we sent one rack of torpedoes just randomly into the cap. We are turning into the Bravo cap. As you can see, one of our teammates is in the cap, starting to capture. I, for some reason, have the belief that there's a destroyer in the cap, although when I look at the map, I can see very clearly the outlines of one in Alpha and one way out beyond Alpha. So I turned in here to Bravo Cap to help finish it off and get some points. And can we take a moment to talk about capping etiquette? Etiquette, pardon me. If you are engaging in an active gunfight with another ship and one of your teammates is trying to cap, you are screwing your teammate because every time you get damaged, it resets the capture counter. Look down at the capture counter. It's counting down 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. All these ships are here. I'm turning away to maintain my concealment. 7, 6, 5. I'm like, great. We're going to cap it. I'm going to sail out of the base, go engage one of these ships. And right there, it resets to 5 seconds. I have to jam on the brakes and smoke up because one of my teammates had to sail out from behind cover and get damaged before we captured Bravo. That's the kind of thing that can lose your team a match. All right, so we smoked up. The Nuremberg is close by. He is a German cruiser. My belief is that German cruisers love to be set on fire. However, unlike the Nelson, they are not masochists, so we start a couple of fires there. And we are continuing to shell the Nuremberg with HE, and life is great. And then I notice, oh my God, the Fiji is sneaking up on me in the Bravo cap, and this is seriously terrifying to me. We killed the Nuremberg, but I could care less right now. I'm switching armor piercing. My plan is to smack the Fiji and kill him and rejoice, and my plan is not working out. Now, this is a Firestarter build. You would never use Gurren as an inspiration. But if you were doing a different kind of build, I think it's possible to consider Gurren as an inspiration. However, I prefer Vine and Sims for shell dispersion because you're going to be fighting at range and hit points to extend your toughness. So we are doing all sorts of evasive maneuvers in the cap here, getting off some torpedoes, dodging salvos, dodging fire from battleships. We do catch the Fiji with one torpedo. He damage cons. We go into his smokescreen, or at least use his smokescreen to shield us from the other ship back there. He whiffs, and we line him up. Center mass, Citadel, goodbye, Fiji. Now I'm continuing out of the cap because, as you can see, fire is still coming on to the Leningrad, not accurately, but our propulsion is knocked out. Thank God for Unstoppable. And we're going to turn back to see if we can get our torpedoes reloaded. And they do. And we shoot in the intended path of the enemy ship. Now, the enemy ship is a Poltava, a ship that I'm intimately familiar with as a Poltava owner. The Poltava is the subject of my most popular, most watched video called The Last Minute. I have videos with more views, but they are just me complaining about the Leon. So those aren't real games, so they don't count. So I really want to say thanks to everybody who watched The Last Minute in the Poltava. There's a better video than that, honest, coming out soon. All right. We are continuing on in the Leningrad. The Poltava, hemmed in by an island, can't get away. He eats 3 torpedoes. We get the kill and the high caliber. That is kill number 4. We are going to mess up a little bit here for a couple of reasons. Number one, I sailed way too far into this cap. I don't have any idea where the enemy destroyers are. I should not have done that. And this is just a mess up on my part. And also, I'm going to turn and put all of my guns on the starboard side of the ship, anticipating, because the Mahan is to the starboard side, that obviously the Akatsuki must be to the starboard side. And then I'm going to turn back towards the Bravo cap. And my plan is, now that I captured Alpha, I'm going to go back into Bravo. But I don't have a speed boost. And even though we're going over 40 knots, it just seems a little slow. and we are playing the waiting game, waiting to get back into Bravo. My plan being is that if they do torpedo one of our ships, at least we can stop Bravo from being counted. And because we have Alpha and Charlie, perhaps we could still win the game. But none of that stuff is going to come to pass. I am not um, going to do anything meaningful here. The Mahan is not going to be killed. We're just going to barely make it to the Bravo cap. And I'm presuming the Akatsuki is going to be over here. And much to my shock, he is not. And you can see I've got to start looking at the mini map immediately when these ribbons pop up. Because right here, I want to say the spotted ribbon pops up, the eyeball pops up, and I'm looking to the right thinking, let me get my guns on target. And the Akatsuki is back at like 8 o'clock, 8:30. And trying to get my guns around, I'm not going to be able to do it. I think about torping. He's going to go behind the island. All I can do is smoke up and turn away, prevent from getting killed. Even though I feel pretty confident he wouldn't have been able to kill me, and the clock runs out on the match. All right, so going to the victory screen, 626,742 silver. I don't think we're using any booster flags other than the speed boost in this build. Over 8,000 ship XP and commander XP. I think that's a pretty good game. 115,950 total damage, to my knowledge, the highest damage game I've had in the Leningrad. 5 torpedo strikes, those 4 big kills, 9 fires started. I wish there could have been more, but we weren't really engaging ships that we could have set on fire. Maybe if I had shelled the Poltava a couple times, I really didn't want him trying to maneuver out of my torpedoes. We end up at the top of the board, 2965 base XP with those 4 big kills, a liquidator medal, and the high caliber. That is Project 1.2, the Firestarter build of the Leningrad. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit that like button, subscribe for more.